Hey guys, Stealth here. Welcome back to From the Depths. This is episode 9 of the adventure mode. In case you missed the last episode, I'm back on my own. Platypus is no longer accompanied by Seawolf, as Seawolf had a bit of an unfortunate encounter with a couple of torpedoes fired from a small submarine. It was not a suicide kill, it was not an own ship hit, but one little submarine managed to get close enough to make her brain dead by firing an EMP torpedo right into her hull, and then just knocked her out with whatever else it had remaining. Result? Seawolf died. So I'm back on my own. Now the submarine seems to be a bit too happy about wanting to return to the surface. I'm going to have to set the depth to, let's say, minus 350. And this episode I need to get more resources because my resource reserves are running a bit low. After Platypus herself went down to 97%, I think was the lowest hit points that I had. And once again, we're alone. No enemy shipping, no enemy contacts, some resource zones. There's one up ahead here, but with 370 points, I'm not even going to bother. There is another one, I believe. Weather's atrocious, so I can barely see. There's a warp gate up in the air. There's another warp gate seemingly up in the air. There's another resource zone for 1176. Another warp gate. That's me. And that's basically the entire surrounding. So yeah, we wait. We wait, we wait. There seems to be a lot of waiting in the current state of the adventure mode. I hope that they're going to change that, in the sense that we get a few more engagements, because it's, as far as I'm concerned, too quiet. There's not enough going on. In the initial adventure section, initial warp plane that you spawn on, there always seems to be something going on. There always seems to be some ship that's getting engaged by another ship. There's aircraft flying overhead. There's quite a few spawns. Currently, I'm on warp plane type harder, difficulty 121. Nothing's going on much. Nothing's going on much at all. And I'm considering going for a warp gate. But I think that if I do go for a warp gate... Hang on. Oh, this thing just got spawned in. 2,500 points of resource, so that is worth it. As I was saying, I hope that something gets spawned in soon. That is really, really important. This might actually be worth it. It's 2,800 points. That's a nice amount of resources. Submarine is still slowly diving. I could make a snorkel mast over the entire length of the sub. It is pretty expensive, especially with the resource gatherers costing me 50 apiece. Yeah. I'd probably be better off just surfacing the whole submarine. And then mining with internal mining devices. So let's say that I would be on the surface. Then I think this would be the highest point. So let's have a couple of resource gatherers over there. Like that. Doesn't look like much, but that's okay. And actually let's go for one more on each end. The sooner I can drain a resource zone of its resources, the better. And that means that all the time I have spent diving can now be spent back up going to the surface. This is going to take a while. Although, look at those air pumps. My altitude is going up, down, whatever. I'm surfacing pretty damn fast. She seems to want to surface a lot faster than she seems to want to dive. Which is important, because it means that I cannot get away as easily. And that is something that I have to keep in mind. If there is something that's going to jump me in the resource zone, and let's face it, that is not an unlikely situation, then I need to be able to get the hell out of there quick. So I potentially may have to make Platypus a bit heavier by the use of more lead blocks. And also I believe that the stern... Yeah, this section is submerged. This is the additional section that I built last episode to make the stern a bit more rounded. But it's not connected, it doesn't have an air pump, and therefore cannot be flooded or... sorry, not flooded or surfaced. Pumped out. There we go, buoyancy is up. Aircraft... No, it's... What exactly is that? Whatever it is, I suddenly don't want to surface anymore. Situation red. Come on. Dive, dive, dive. Required depth. Whoa, I hit something for 30,000? Yep, she's responding. We're diving again. And I took 517 points of resources. Okay. Never mind. We're going to once again have to surface, since the threat has been killed off already. There we go, altitude set to 0. Are you still going for anything? Are you tracking something that I don't know about? What? Not connected to a mainframe? What are you talking about? Ah, that helps, or doesn't. Surface, surface, surface. Slow down. This thing does not make turns very quickly. Look at the size of her. Turn, turn, turn. I'm going to quickly strip this resource zone. There's only 370 left, but whatever. It's resources. Yes? No? Yes, we're mining. This should not take me very long. Resource gatherer underwater and cannot function? What do you mean? Just about. $270, $220. Pretty good. Pretty good. There's the other one. And there's my next one for 2,800. 125. That kill actually got me a nice amount of resources as well. About 900. And I think we're done mining. Yep. Alright. I can pretty much stay on the surface. I don't really need to go down. Famous last words, of course, but, you know. Let's hope that for now it's going to work out. There's the next resource zone. You can see that the submarine really wants to roll. And with the entire roll system on the top side of the sub, it doesn't actually work at the moment. So I have to basically roll with the swell of the waves and work with those. Anyway, as I mentioned, I want to make the bottom of the sub a bit heavier to make her sink faster. Or dive faster. Sinking might not be the right term. Turn left a bit. She's already getting heavier. She seems to want to dive a bit more. There we go. Speed is a nice 12, 14 almost. Anyone else want to have a go? No? Figures. Once they're on YouTube, the AI gets nervous and they suddenly don't spawn anything. Gets a bit tedious, doesn't it? So what other additions could I make to the sub? If any. You know, I have considered turning the entire submarine, or taking the submarine into a blue spawn zone, or a blue reconstruction zone, and turning the whole thing into a ship, complete with heavy armament. The thing is that a submarine is very, very safe, as we've seen so far. I mean, that's episode 9, that's testament to how safe this thing is. A ship, if it gets hit by a cramshell from, for example, that bastion that we saw last episode, you're not going to be doing very well. You're going to be constantly spending your points and your resources on repairs and resupplies and trying to stay alive. Whereas right now, I'm in a pretty comfortable position. I can mine whenever I like, and if it gets too dangerous, I just dive and I get the hell out of there. And then, if there's still anything that wants to shoot at me, I just return fire in my safety of the depths. I could go with a few more resource miners, speed this process up. Now I'm really getting resources fast, faster than the resource zone can regenerate. Target up. What are you? A proctor. I don't even want to know what that is. Those are some really nasty gram cannons. Fire in general direction. Section 1. Fire. Oh, crap. Wrong type of torpedo. Wrong type of torpedo. Load the Platypus torpedo system. Apply to all. It doesn't... Does it have a one turn? I believe it does. Yeah, no it doesn't. That explains it. I cannot throw these weapons over my shoulder. What am I doing on resources? Stripped a decent amount of it so far. 2 out of 6 tubes ready. 3 out of 8. 4 still loading. 3. 2. Where's that enemy ship? Still quite a ways out. There you are. 8 out of 8, ready. Right, aiming via the one turn. Just trying to get a lock with the torpedo sonar. There we go. 4,500 meters. I'm gonna get worried when the range hits about 2,000. Until then, I feel pretty confident about being able to mine this zone. And you can see that I've already taken 1,300 out of 2,800 points of resources. So I'm mining very, very quickly. And how much can I store? 16,000. Plenty. Gotta reverse a little bit. I seem to be drifting out of the zone. About 1,200 left. How much torpedoes doing? 3,300 meters, plenty of fuel, plenty of time, and a decent warhead on these torpedoes. But I don't believe that one set of torpedoes will hit them. So let's go for the second set. It's 4 left. Two left. 1 left. Salvo complete. How are we doing on resources? 600 left. Stop drifting out of the resource zone. That was a radar buoy that was shot up at maximum velocity. Looks like the AI is now getting involved as well. And my first set of torpedoes should be getting reasonably close to the enemy ship. Is that the first salvo? Yeah, I believe that this is the first salvo. Second salvo, third salvo. Whoops, I'm going out of the resource zone. Speed up. Speed up. Not too much. 400 points left. $390. Please don't shoot. First set still on the way. There's another something as well, but I cannot quite find it. Where are you at? That's the one. I thought there was another one. No, never mind. Probably just this one. I'm not sure why it's heading away. It may not be detecting my sub. Although, how likely is that? I have a huge radar profile. That is vision. No, that's heat. Visibility. About a click out. This is viewing radar range. Oh, it's not that bad. He probably hasn't detected me yet. Sonar range is really, really high though. About 1800 meters off to the sides, but he probably didn't get that close. And finally, the wireless snooper range. That's not that bad, it's 460. If something would be inside a range of 460, I would know. Because then they'd be pretty much right on top of me. But so far, so good. So, let me see what the torpedoes are up to. They seem to be approaching quickly. First two are going to impact pretty much simultaneously, which is not ideal for explosive charge, but it works. No. What? Let's try the other torpedo. Hit. Down to 96%. I think that his engine is down in the aft sections. But if I can knock off some guns or possibly hit an ammo section, that would really help. There's his maneuverability and steering. Look at all these blocks falling off. Now 82%. Blew a very, very sizable hole into that submarine, into that ship. So, we done mining yet? Yes, I believe we're done. In that case, let's head for the safety of the depths. Set a required altitude of -180 and then some. Let's go to 350 again. 240, 260, 270... 310, 325, 350. There we go. So how are you doing? 80%. You don't seem to be taking kindly to the torpedoes, and he's not going to be able to do anything. He cannot even run away anymore, because the first few torpedoes impacted his stern and all of his propulsion is gone. That looked like it hurt. Too damaged to actually be continuous. Okay. And look at the amount of credits or amount of resources that I'm scoring from those kills. Speed up to full speed again. Doing 1180. Is that all I can get? Oh well. How much are you leaving behind for me? 700? That's resources. Whatever. Okay, so now I have resources again. On the one hand, I like the look of the platypus. It looks quite powerful. On the other hand, it looks like a big frickin' whale. And it has pretty much the hydrodynamic drag of that as well. 55.56. I don't think that that's going to be helping. 53.76. How about these? Nope, they don't matter. Or do they? Nope, they don't matter. Right-hand side role reversal system. So it's probably mainly the torpedo tubes. Let's see what happens if I add one there. Nope, doesn't matter. There it matters. For in front of this torpedo tube. Whoops. Unfortunately, I cannot fire torpedoes like that. That would be really fortunate, but no such thing. Is there any other place where I could lock up my torpedo tubes without them sticking out? Nope, that's not the right answer either. I don't really know. Hang on, there's one block that's not quite to my liking here. I think it's that one. 53.76. You should be a 4-meter beam downward slope. Yeah, that reduced it to 51.96, and that's all. Paint mode. This bit, maybe. Let's take the paint off of this section, so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, there it is. It's that one. This is not really the way that I like it to be. I think we can do a bit better than that. Whoops. Wrong element. So this should be an inverted triangle beam 4 meters. And then that... Triangle corner? No. Square corner? No. There should be a triangle... Ah, this is tough. 62. Whew. 59. Yeah. This should be a triangle corner. And that could be a downward slope. And maybe I need to build one of them there. No, that's not it either, is it? How about one of those? And then this could be a 4-meter beam. And I think we're dealing with the same problem all over again. Damn it. Triangle corner? 55.64 doesn't matter anyway. 51.96. Sticking out like a sore thumb, but the game seems to think it's alright. Let's strip this thing down a bit. Still no threats. Come on, game, spawn in a few more targets, please. It's getting a bit dull. There's something wrong with this side of the sub. I think I'm not using enough of those. Might that be it? So that I have one more there. No, I'm back to where I started. Whoa, I'm down to 500 meters depth? That's a bit deeper than I had expected to go. I think it's because I took out all the buoyancy of the sub. Probably didn't like that much. How's this? 52. That's not too shabby. 55. 51.96. That's workable. That's workable. But once again, there's still this thing. This section here. This is what I mean. I don't really like the nose of the platypus. The bow needs work. What kind of work? I don't really know. I'm considering just taking off the entire bow section and redoing it from scratch. That does leave me defenseless for at least a little while. But it may give me a... You know what? Screw it. I have time. Sorry, bow. Alright. What are those? Resource storages? Or repair bots? I don't even know what's on my own sub. Another one of those. Downward slopes. I'm first going to add the bow. And then we'll see about making it hydrodynamic, or about adding the weapon systems after. There's nothing to shoot at me anyway. So that should be another triangle corner. We should have a few more downward slopes. And then we're back to where we started. Sort of. Yep, back to where we started. Frustrated much? Triangle corners, inverted. How do you guys fix this issue? Because I, for one, don't really know how to not make it a platypus beak again. I mean, here we are, back to where we started. 52. Eh. $44. Still 44. Maybe this is a bit too sharp. Let's go for 2 meters. So this would be a 2 meter inverted. There we go. Triangle corner. How does this go for hydrodynamics? 38! That's good. And usually it's really, really weird, but if I add another downward slope, it usually gets better. There, 37. It doesn't... No. Let's add the torpedo tubes. 44 again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we're back at 53. Well, how about that? Fantastic. Ugh, this is going to take a lot of work. This is what I mean. Maybe I have to redo the entire submarine to make her more hydrodynamic, because the current situation just doesn't quite do it for me. I could have torpedo tubes here. What would that do with the hydrodynamics? Going up to 42. That's workable. They basically count as flat blocks. I believe 42.2 or 42.3. Yeah, okay, that's workable. Whoops, that's a bit too many connectors. Connectors first, launch pads, gantries. I can probably do the same thing here. 45. Come on, where are you at? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So are these 10-meter torpedo tubes? 11s? It's perfectly workable to go with less torpedo tubes, but give them more of a punch. I think that that could work just as well. 45.52. Okay. So let's go with that for now. Because I have a feeling that I might be engaged soon-ish. Controller. Nope, wrong number of blocks. Makes sense. Let's give him 3 fins. Last time around they were a few too... well, they were not maneuverable enough. 2 torpedo propellers, a few fuel tanks. 3 is probably a bit much. Ballast tank, 2 regulators. A 1-turn. Ton of explosives. And a torpedo sonar. Apply to all. Give me an IFF. Give me a couple of staggered fire-ons. And then finally an AI local weapons controller. There. Not connected. Maximum range to engage 4500. Maximum altitude to engage 15. Connected to the AI. Boom. Done. So I basically cut the armament of the sub in half by doing that. But the torpedoes themselves are a bit more devastating. I can even make them longer. So why not? Target prediction guidance. I could go with that. Then even more explosives. Torpedoes are probably going to take forever to rearm, but whatever. Oh, while I was working, it seems that a whole horde of ships has spawned in. A kite. What the hell is a kite? It's an airship. Altitude almost 300. And it's building a drone. So that's one. There's a river home. A river home. Those things are old. And very, very weak. And completely incapable of hurting my submarine. Alright, so let's get a few torpedoes in the water. Gotta get these things back on slot 1. Head south. Look at the size of these monsters. So that's what you call a 2-second delay. Yeah, we need to have a word about that. Distance, 5,000 meters? Oh dear. Alright, increase speed to full. Let's see how fast I can go. 12... almost 13 knots. Or 13 meters per second, which is not 13 knots. I gotta reapply the paint scheme before I forget. Not that one. I'll have to repaint that red in a minute. Come on, that one too. There we go. Now the red sections... You know, I feel like I'm killing stuff. I feel that the submarine has grown to pretty much the size that I want it to be. And I'm actually a bit lost about what to do next. Because it feels that the submarine is pretty much stagnant in the current state of things. I'm not really getting anywhere. I mean, sure, killing stuff is nice, but it gets a bit meh over time. Where's that air thingy? What, you killed it already? No, you didn't. Something did. Something just left 700 resources there. Interesting. Do we have another contender? Doesn't look like it. Alright. Torpedo's still 3,000 meters out. I don't think they have the fuel to get there. Next set of torpedoes, 3,700 meters. These will have the time to get there, and the fuel. They are connected, but for some reason we're still launching these things non-stop. I don't get that. Whatever, it's torpedoes, it's weapons. It almost looks like he's trying to escape to an easier warplane, which, in his case, probably wouldn't be a bad idea. You would probably want to take your river home and go elsewhere. Because while that thing may have a decent, impressive turret there, cram cannon, it's slow, 6 meters per second, and it has this massive beam of cannons, as well as a whole load of side mounts. And that's it. That is all that it has. Its armament's pretty bad. It's my first flight of 4. It's gonna take forever, isn't it? Oh well. Could go with even more propulsion, but I think it's just going to waste more power without actually getting a lot in return. Let's see. It's going to start knocking me off course. Back on course. 15. Primary and the primary. 17-ish. Yeah, 17.5 meters per second. But my battery is being drained. So I have to go back into my resources section. And, you know what, just plunk down 2 more RTGs. It's really expensive. Let's increase the size of the battery as well. It's really expensive, but in the end I believe it will be worth it. There. Massive battery of 90,000 points. Battery is only very slowly being charged. Hello. We have a lance. And by the looks of it, the lance is doing damage to the river home. Unsurprisingly. What are you armed with? That looks like a really big cram cannon. Yeah. We need to have a word. Because you're taking my kill. Where are my torpedoes at anyway? I need to have a look at the torpedoes. I'm starting to outrun my own torpedoes. So let's go with a few more torpedo propellers. Let's move everything up a bit. Fuel tanks. I had 3 of those, I think. Let's go with 4. They tend to be a bit hungrier. 1 turn. Regulators. And a ballast tank. There. Target prediction guidance. Apply to all. Sacrifices a bit of the explosive warhead, but I think I can miss some of that. I think I can go without some of that. But look at that. First set seems to have run out. Presumably out of fuel. My power is still too low. Okay, so I have a lot of potential speed, but I don't really need all that speed right now. There's the warp gate. Way too far, so I don't even have to worry about that. River home just took a massive beating. It's an easy target. It's completely dead in the water, and my torpedoes are about to impact. AI dead. Got a bit of damage done. Well, more than a bit actually. 90,000 almost. So he's dead. That should mean that my torpedoes... There's the death of that thing. He stole all the resources. Oh, son, are you in trouble? Although trouble might not quite cover it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. That's at least 15 torpedoes heading for you with another flight fresh in the water. Hang on, what do you mean you're firing at me? I'm at 350 meters below sea level. What do you think's going to happen? Look at him go. He's not doing that bad, though. For 15 torpedo hits, I'd say he looks pretty healthy to me. I hope to be able to ammo rack this guy. That looked like an internal explosion. There's another few. We will break this thing down. This is going to take a while. And it seems that there are a few more targets to the south. It's not just you, is it? Slowly crawl towards this thing. Is that a turret that you're missing? Yeah, I think that was a turret. That was the bow turret on that ship. Not a lot left of that. Torpedoes seem to be going straight up. Only doing a little bit of damage to the hull so far. 73, 72, 71. Subtly you're not such a hotshot, are you? Subtly you seem a bit vulnerable. Now you may call the seal clubbing, you may call it unfair, but I'm not in this thing for fair fights. Because neither is the AI. We're condition red. Makes sense. I have probably been detected. I'd be surprised if I wasn't, really. Let's see if these things can actually hit something. My anti-air battery. Yeah, the lance does not look to be doing too well. There's another hit. He barely feels those impacts. Is that light or metal? I think they might be light alloy blocks. Took another good impact there. Down to 67%. My battery is full. Perfect. 170,000 points of explosive damage done. I'm considering just firing a couple of AI warheads. First, let's save these. Before I forget, these are the Platypus torpedoes, the 13 block missiles, or torps. I'm gonna go with EMP warheads. Quite a few more. One more. That is, if there's still anything left by the time that this salvo of torpedoes is done with it. 64, 63. Alright, you may fire when ready. You're going for something completely different. Yeah, I need to let the AI do the firing. Because now I'm going for something entirely different. To the southeast. What is that? It is a hell of a long way away. Vanguard. Am I really going to be fighting these lowlifes again? Because that would just be a bit boring. Alright, let's finish this thing off. And then end the episode there. Still trying to get a couple of rounds into the water. Let me know how that's going to work out for you. It's probably not too well. Torpedoes out. Times 2. Times 3. Times 4. Acquire the target. Going pretty much straight up, although that's pretty hard to see on a map view like this. But yes, they are going straight up. AI dead. There, it worked. You can barely see it, but the craft has been killed. That's going to give me a nice amount of resources. That thing was really, really valuable. How much? Not bad. Salvaged 3,200 points. I thank you very much. Let's load the standard Platypus torps again and set those to all. And with that last kill, this episode has come to an end. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry it was a bit of a dull episode, but hopefully more kills and more spawns soon. And let me know in the comments what you want to see, because I don't really know where to go from here. What would you like to see? Let me know. Thank you for watching, hope you had fun, and I'll see you soon for more from the depths.